did you want to have sex with him? And she says, no, but I didn't say no. I'm not a victim. She has been very, very clear on that point, that she does not want to be seen as a victim here, that this was consensual sex, and that she did this of her own accord. She went up to his hotel room. She kind of found herself in a position. She thought they were just going to go to dinner, and then he invited her into the hotel room where they were supposed to have dinner, and things turned into something much different.
Well, I'm joined now by political analyst Larry Sabato. He's the director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Larry, we are learning some incredible details from this interview. Some of the transcripts just coming in. This interview, of course, has not aired yet. But in some of the transcript, Stormy Daniels claims that she was threatened in Las Vegas, told to leave Trump alone. We have heard just last week that Trump's legal team threatened to sue her $20 million, $1 million for each breach of her non-disclosure agreement. What do you anticipate to come out tonight? How damaging could this be for President Trump?
Well, I haven't read the whole transcript. I've read pieces of it as I was sitting here. As you noted, it hasn't aired yet because of a basketball game. But to me, from what I have heard, the most serious charge is about the gentleman coming up to Stormy Daniels and her daughter in 2011. That was 7 years ago in Las Vegas, and threatening her with physical harm. Very clearly. There's no question about it from what she said. Now, did she report it to police? Are there contemporaneous witnesses? Did she tell friends of hers at the time? These are details that matter. Look, this is a steamy and seamy piece of information. You have to say, though, no one is going to be particularly surprised. There are so many charges against Donald Trump, not just for extramarital affairs of this sort, but of out-and-out sexual harassment stretching over decades. People knew this when they voted. The real question will eventually be, are there legal implications that apply to him as president now? And of course, if he ever had any sort of affair while president, then he would be subject to some of the same abuses that were visited upon Bill Clinton during the Monica Lewinsky affair.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that threat that was made, Larry, I was just reading part of that transcript. She said that when this man approached her in this car park, not only did he threaten her, but threatened her daughter, saying, "That's a beautiful little girl. It would be a shame if something happened to her mum."
Yes,
how important is it that she has some evidence of this, or will it be damaging enough just revealing these sort of details?
It's very disturbing. I don't think anyone would want this sort of information made public, much less a president. The real key here is whether or not this can be tied directly back to Trump. Or was it simply some operative of his delegating this to a tough in Las Vegas? Did the person come from the Trump organization or not? How much information does she have? And again, did she turn this over to the police? Does she have contemporaneous witnesses? These things matter. It was 7 years ago. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. It is amazing to me and to everyone else that Donald Trump has been invulnerable to these sorts of charges from the very people who howled about Bill Clinton, not just during Monica Lewinsky, but all the way back when he was first running for president, when we found out he had engaged in a lengthy affair with Jennifer Flowers. They howled about how he was not qualified to be president on account of it. Now they completely justify this for Donald Trump because they're happy that he's appointed conservative judges. Well, there's a little hypocrisy there. No, there's more than a little hypocrisy there. But they're not going to flake off from him. They're going to stick with him regardless.
And it's amazing that that happens, given that for other presidents, as you say, this would bring them down. And Stormy Daniels, of course, is not the only woman claiming to have had an affair with Donald Trump since he's been married to Melania. She's one of three, and one of which we heard from just last week, right? The Playboy bunny.
Yes, she was actually more credible She wasn't a porn star, although apparently Donald Trump was more than happy to have some sort of relationship or affair with Stormy Daniels. But I actually think the most damaging allegations all along have been the allegations of sexual harassment, some of which are just outrageous behavior on Donald Trump's part. Here's the problem. They were raised during the campaign. Some news organizations presented the women and even presented some evidence that they had taken place. They had zero effect on the election. Maybe it was because Hillary Clinton's husband, Bill, had some of the same allegations against him, and so the issue was neutralized during the campaign. But if these allegations of sexual harassment are brought up again in this climate created by Stormy Daniels and the other women that have made charges in the last few weeks, it's possible that they will have more effect. I'll believe it when I see it, and I don't think it's going to happen, but it's at least a possibility.
Anytime Donald Trump is attacked, he generally gets on the front foot, especially on Twitter, and goes back on the offensive, attacking anyone who attacks him. And we've seen the way he has tried to defend himself with the Russian investigation, going after Mueller and trying to discredit that. Yet he has not weighed in on these affairs, on these scandals. He hasn't denied them. He hasn't taken to Twitter to defend himself. What should we make of that?
I can only give you my personal evaluation. I know it's shared by quite a few others. And my evaluation is that these allegations being made are essentially true. Donald Trump, of course, knows that they're true. The difference is he's denied all kinds of things that were true. The difference here is that it potentially is in the legal arena. And if he denies certain things and denies them in the wrong way, he could hurt his own case or subject himself to prosecution. So I think he actually is listening to personal lawyers on this front. What he did with Mueller was incredibly unwise, but he knew he could get away with it and his lawyers couldn't stop him. This is a different situation.
And of course, there are political scandals when it comes to Russia. This is very personal. This is obviously impacting his family as well. All right, we'll have to leave it there.
Yes, it is indeed.
Larry Sabato, always good to get your perspective. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Well, still to come, a cheating scandal in the cricket world. The latest on the fallout after a shocking admission of wrongdoing in Australia.